What's up guys, Derek, moreplates.com. Today we are reacting to Joe Coy. I saw a pretty funny clip pop up on my Explore page about sleep apnea, which is one of the most insidious things that can wreak havoc on your life and take decades off of it without you even realizing, and destroy your vitality simultaneously. So he talks about it in, I watched the first 5 seconds, laughed, and then figured it was worth responding to and reacting to because it's very relatable for a lot of people on this channel and some people who actually need a reality check about taking it seriously, because I know a lot of people who have been diagnosed, even gotten a CPAP, tried it for one night, couldn't handle how uncomfortable it was, chucked it across the room and never used it again. So let's hear what he has to say about sleep apnea.
No one takes sleep apnea serious. They laugh when I say I have that problem. Haha, it's funny. People with sleep apnea get to say that we fight death every night. I'm this close to dying, and I fucking win every time
Yeah, so if you've ever woken up gasping for air, you can definitely attest to the fact that this is not inaccurate. This is like, you're getting to the point where you're cutting off your brain of so much oxygen that you are killing brain cells and putting your heart through war. And at the same time, not even realizing it in some cases, and then in some cases in the most severe, is gasping for air and your body forcing your body awake in order to actually inhale, because you were that close to passing out essentially. This is one of the scariest things if you have severe obstructive sleep apnea, or even, I guess, the other type of sleep apnea, which is electrical. And I know much less about that. However, it is something that seems to be more potentially remedied through interventions that are different than just CPAP, where you can use like Inspire as a company I talked about a long time ago on a clip that got almost no views, but it's a device that can actually like stimulate your breathing feedback system for you if this is an electrically induced issue. But most people in the bodybuilding world or fitness world have obstructive sleep apnea caused by either like their tongue falling back into their throat while they're on their back, or their neck being so thick that it's, constricting their airway. Whatever it is, they end up either needing some sort of appliance to move their jaw forward, or something to keep their tongue from falling into an obstructive area. Some like mouth tape to encourage nasal breathing, or an actual CPAP machine. There are different remedies for different individuals, and it depends on your circumstance and individual specific scenario. But ultimately, at the end of the day, this is something that will take years off your life. Like, it is not something to fuck around with if you actually have it, especially if it's severe.
Wake up a survivor, but no one respects it because I have to wear a big fucking mask. That's the only thing that'll cure us. There's no surgery, and that's why guys hate to admit that they have sleep apnea.
Okay, that isn't necessarily true. There is surgical things that can be done, but it depends on your situation. Like, I remember I got my adenoids removed when I was a kid, and apparently they regrew. And some of the, the tonsils and adenoids are, it's funny how many people have gotten these removed and don't even know why. Because it's just something that seemed like a normal thing to do when you were a kid. But those could potentially be obstructive of your airway if they're overgrown. In addition, just body weight, very, very problematic in itself. Breathing patterns, if you're used to being a mouth breather versus a nasal breather. Sleeping position, if you're on your side versus on your back, versus some people sleep on their face, like whatever. Like, that sounds weird, but like, I don't know, some people like literally lie, like their face like on the pillow face first, with their nose like half constricted and their like the other half of their face able to breathe for them. Everyone has their own thing at the end of the day. And surgical intervention could be accomplishing different things. There is a procedure for bringing the jaw forward to then unconstrict the airway if it's too recessed and it is otherwise inhibiting it to some extent. There's also things that can be done from the, like I said, adenoid removal or tonsil removal. Deviated septum, very problematic if you are somebody who has an inhibited, obstructed nasal passage, who can barely breathe. Turbinate reduction. These are things that should be approached with care and caution, though, of course. If you've heard me talk about empty nose syndrome on Joe Rogan podcast, or some of the, horror stories that steered me away from a deviated nose, why can't I remember? Deviated septum surgery. there are some concerns potentially. But in general, if you actually have a problematic enough issue, it is absolutely worth seeking a medical opinion, not listening to a random YouTuber, of course. But again, there are surgical things that can be done, and for some people totally remedy the situation. Like for Joe, for example, he had a brutal deviated septum, couldn't even breathe out of his nose, got the surgery done and turbinate reduction. It was like one of the best decisions he made in his life. And in addition, he has this like mouth appliance thing that he uses too, and he says it's completely resolved his sleep apnea, which is awesome because it's something that will literally, could I say literally more times, take several years off of your life. It's bad. It'll fuck your hormones up, fuck your blood pressure up, destroy your heart insidiously over time. It's something that has a cumulative effect, and unfortunately, when you're operating on a day-to-day basis, you just assume you feel like this, when in reality, you have no idea. You have no idea what's going on during your sleep at nighttime. You're just asleep. And if you don't have a significant other really letting you know that your sleep quality sounds fucking horrible and maybe you should get it checked out, and why would they even think that? Because no one has ever really proactively told us that if your snoring is so brutal and it sounds like you're choking in your sleep that you might have sleep apnea, you would never think to go get it checked out, and neither would your significant other even think to tell you to even consider it. They would just think you're loud, annoying, and potentially even switch rooms while they go to sleep because they can't stand listening to you. When in reality, you are silently fighting a insidiously debilitating battle perpetually for fucking years, which is slowly just little chopping years off your life at the same time.
They'll say they're snoring until they die, and they literally fucking die. I guarantee there's a guy in here right now, and his girlfriend's like, you listen, fucking, if you were single, I get it. Any potential of having a relationship, done the minute I put the goddamn mask on.
That is so not, that's the only thing I would disagree with for sure. Well, other than I said the surgery thing too, but I mean, like, it is never, if anyone judges you for wearing a mask, and I get it's part of a comedy routine, so he's probably just fucking around, but ultimately, if a girl is actually going to like screen you out and be like, I can't be with you because you look like a nerd with this fucking Darth Vader mask on or whatever, and you shouldn't be bringing a vacuum cleaner over, or you look stupid, then you should not be with that chick to begin with. That is not somebody who actually cares about your well-being. That's not somebody who understands what you're going through. And if you explain to her in rational terms, like what sleep apnea is, she should be more than understanding. If she wants to be with you, she should not be running for the hills because you have a difficulty breathing. Like, imagine being so muscular that you have a obstructed airway, and then a chick is like, oh, I can't be with you because your neck's too thick. Like, fuck, dude. Like, what can you do? And obviously, sometimes it's just you're too fat, but it goes both ways. You could be shredded and still have obstructive sleep apnea. It is absolutely prevalent and one of the most overlooked silent killers in bodybuilding, in my opinion.
Wake up the next morning, bed empty. Just a note that says, I didn't know you were Bane.
Yeah.
No.
It's pretty accurate, bro. Pretty fucking accurate. Yeah. The Bane mask is the full face one, which I have since gotten away from myself and try to use the nasal mask now. And if you have a hard time getting used to it, join the club. Everyone did, probably. It's very rare that somebody just puts it on and perfectly comfortable and has no issues with it whatsoever. That is few and far between. I encourage you to really give it a fair shake before you decide to forego its use, because it makes a massive difference. Like, there are a lot of people who probably could have saved a decade plus, if not multiple decades on their lifespan if they had bad sleep apnea, had they used something like a CPAP machine. So if you want more information, I did a video on Post Malone and his sleep apnea. It's probably worth watching if you want more information on the difference between the different machines, pressure changes, etc., and just kind of what goes into it and what you should be considerate of, sleep studies, preliminary screening for if you have sleep apnea, what to look out for, my experience, also Joe's experience. I took a snippet out of our sleep apnea discussion from the podcast. It's absolutely worth watching. I'll put up a timestamp or a card in the corner for you to watch it if you want. But yeah, definitely not something to overlook, something to absolutely take seriously. It's one of the most low-hanging fruits, not just from a health perspective, but your quality of life. The haze and brain fog that you will endure from poor quality sleep is unmatched. There is no amount of stimulants, nootropics, fucking Adderall, or anything that you could do that really makes up for high quality sleep. And if you are perpetually in a haze of low quality sleep from sleep apnea and you've not addressed it adequately, it will be a literal game changer for you to get this thing handled, and I highly recommend you do. So anyways, you can check out the video, like I said, in the card above, or if you want to like the video, you can click the like button or comment. Helps the algorithm. I don't even know where I was going with that, but I guess it's the end of the video. Like, subscribe. Check out my blog, moreplace108s.com. Follow me on Instagram at moreplace108s. Facebook, Snapchat, BitChute, not BitChute. Twitter, TikTok, Apple Podcasts. If you want to support the channel, you can check out anything I'm associated with in the video description below. I don't even know if people listen to these outros or if it's just like white noise at this point, or it's just like, you know, this part of the outro, so we just tune out. But let me know if I should say this stuff. I don't know how impactful it is. I feel like a call to action is worthwhile. Like, I would actually be very, very happy if you guys followed me on the other platforms and whatnot, or supported me below, which you guys do. It's very much appreciated. But the like big blurb of like, follow me on Instagram, I'm replace108s, Facebook, Snapchat, blah, blah, blah. Is that even worth saying? I don't know. Let me know. All the comments help the algorithm, and I probably already said that. So anyways, I'll talk to you guys soon.